So you're out deer hunting, you come across a wounded deer. You know this deer probably isn't going to survive.
It's a hard decision seeing something suffer. It's an even harder decision to make sure you're doing the right legal and ethical decision.
What do you do in that situation?
Mother Nature, yeah, she's up, well, you know what she is. So, good luck with that. It's gonna happen to you more than likely sooner than later.
This is Deer and Deer Hunting TV.
You may or may not, but likely you could run into a deer that has been wounded for some reason, whether it's been in a fight, hit by a car, hit by an arrow, or even shot by another hunter, could come limping by.
So car deer accidents, that's the nature of the beast where you have areas and communities with high deer populations. It's going to happen. It wasn't that long ago when my home state of Wisconsin reported over 40,000 car deer accidents a year. That number is about half now that it was, say, 20 years ago. But there's still a lot of car deer accidents, and those are the ones that are reported.
I always look at those situations in a big world, and that world is that Mother Nature's cruel. If I feel that that deer has been injured in some way that I had no control over or other hunters didn't, then I kind of feel like that's not my place to put that deer down.
And I guess this underscores the need for controlling our deer herds. And it's another thing to keep in mind when you're going out there. If you have a tag and you have freezer space, or you have friends who need the venison, don't pass those deer up, because you might be saving somebody else a headache down the road.
The biggest problem you're going to run up against if you start putting down wounded animals is the legality of it. You need to understand the laws. And basically the law is you're not God out there. You are God if you want to use your tag. But if you don't want to use your tag up, or possibly think that you're going to get a game warden to give you a free tag, you can't be putting these animals down.
In most states, the laws vary. Some states you have to have a police officer come give you a tag. Some states you have to have a conservation warden come and give you a tag. Other states allow you to call them in. Find out what the law is in your state, number one, first and foremost. Don't just take that deer because laws vary.
I would suggest to you that you document everything with your smartphone. Film that animal, show that it's been wounded, show that it's been hurt, and you didn't do it. Now that's going to be tough to prove, but try to set the storyline up and then dispatch it cleanly and humanely.
The natural world requires checks and balances in nature, and as a hunter, I'm a check maker as far as we have to manage the deer, you know. The deer have to die. We have to manage them. If we don't manage them, there's all sorts of, I mean, it's, you can find the research out there that shows what happens with surplus overpopulation.
I do feel though, sometimes you see an animal suffering so bad, yeah, you do need to put it down. But again, I would stress highly, look up the laws, look up the legality, discuss it with a conservation officer, and if at all possible on the spot, get a game warden or conservation officer on the phone to get the situation handled the right legal way.
I would play this for you, but we don't want to pay the copyright music on it. Guns N' Roses song, and he just looked up and went back to feeding. Very cool encounter, something you don't see every day. Normally a deer's going to blow out of there.
Deer and Deer Hunting TV is brought to you by
Probably the worst case scenario is a young deer getting injured, because young deer are typically the ones that don't make it through a hard northern winter anyway. If you're going to take a deer late in the season just for meat, a young deer is typically the one to take, because They just don't have the hardiness, the body fat, the mass to survive winter. And coyotes or some other animal will likely take it down.
I have seen deer, three-legged deer survive. I've seen them survive several seasons. I've seen does survive and actually give birth to fawns. But knowing that this area is rife with coyotes, it's rife with black bears, and even some timber wolves.
Add an injury to that, hey, it makes it real tough for them to survive.
We've been watching this spike all fall, and it was a beautiful, healthy 1.5-year-old deer, little spikes on him. He could have grown into something nice, and I've watched him so many times. I don't know how much footage we got of him, but one time actually, it got dusk, it got dark, and that deer was sitting in the food plot in front of us eating, and he would not go away. I actually held my phone out the window, and I would play this for you, but we don't want to pay the copyright music on it. Guns N' Roses song, and he just looked up and went back to feeding. Very cool encounter, something you don't see every day. Normally a deer's gonna blow out of there. But this deer, I don't know what happened. I'm assuming after everything that transpired, this deer was hit by a car. Okay, this is my annual meat making mission. No prisoners will be taken in the making of this video. I want some venison, and I have tags. And bucks are not off limits. That's what I like. We've got an area here. We have some private land, very small piece, surrounded by public land. If you're hunting a small property, sometimes you have to be careful about property lines. We're pretty close to some property lines here, so my goal here is if I shoot at a deer, I'm gonna go for that scapula shot, and I'm gonna try to drop it right there. In those cases, the reason I do it, yes, you mess up a shoulder, you might mess up both shoulders, but that deer ain't going anywhere, and then you don't have to worry about crossing a property line, or if you don't have permission. That's why I use that shot. I like to use it when hunting small properties, so that deer's not going anywhere. Try to anchor them on the spot. There's not a lot to pick from, and I'll be happy to be blessed with a deer right here tonight. So this hunt went like a lot of normal hunts go, right? So we're talking about me and normal hunter. We went out, we sat in a blind for 2 days and didn't see a thing. And you know, a lot of people, you think, oh, you're going gun hunting, it's gonna be easy. It isn't. You know that. If you're hunting highly pressured land, and that's what we have around us, highly pressured land, nothing. And you get to that third day and you're thinking like, okay, so we're gonna switch things up. We're gonna go sit in a muddy ladder stand. So the wind was actually coming out of the swamp, blowing right in our face and heading back basically to the northwest. Maybe our odds are gonna get better. And just like that, within 5 minutes, we barely got in the stand and boom, here comes a deer. And immediately I know something's wrong. It's a spike. He's crippled. Sometimes you gotta do the right thing. This thing's got a broken leg. He's got a broken front left leg. He's a three-legged deer. How hard can it be to put that deer down? You cannot think like that, because in the moment, just because you think you might have the odds in your favor, you have to make sure, just like any other type of hunting, that everything goes right. And even a three-legged deer can go a long ways. I can't let that cloud my judgment in that moment. In that moment, I want to make a clean, ethical shot. Sometimes what you want to do and what you should do are two different things. And I'm not going to lie, I would have loved to have passed that buck up, but I could tell he had a broken leg and he wouldn't have survived the winter. And sometimes you just got to do the right thing. I'm very happy. I'm excited. I have venison on the ground and it's been a long gun season. So tonight we're going to celebrate because our buck is right there. I opted on the heart shot because I already knew that he had a busted leg, so I knew I was going to lose something in that area of the vital zone. So if you look at the angle of that deer, that Hornady Outfitter load, that bullet went right where it needed to go through, right through the top of the heart. He didn't go but maybe 30 yards and fell over. Hey, I have venison for the freezer. That's great. I got a good memory of a hunt, but also, sometimes that bittersweet memory, knowing that I didn't necessarily do what I wanted to do, but I did what was right. But it's also nice to just have that time with the Creator. It's not easy to find these days, but I can still find it out in the woods, in the fields, in the swamps, every single time. And I feel blessed to take this deer home today. Mother Nature can be cruel. That's a harsh reality. But as a hunter, I can show empathy for an animal that might have got itself in a situation that it certainly didn't ask for, and provide mercy in taking that animal out and making good, positive use of a tragic situation.
Deer and Deer Hunting TV is brought to you by
So the news is we're not seeing a whole lot of deer.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But the real news is Hornady's got some great news about ammunition.
Yep. We just released the brand new 7mm PRC cartridge this year.
And that's what you're hunting with?
Yep, that is.
Cool.
And hopefully we get to put it into use out here, but this is just a fantastic offering for any of this kind of Western hunting that anybody wants to do. I mean, it's at home in the whitetail woods in the southeast, but where it will really shine is out here with large-bodied whitetails, mule deer, elk, antelope, everything like that. I mean, 7mm long been a favorite of, you know, those that are looking to get the best ballistic coefficients and performance out of their rifles, and this 7PRC does all that. So it's a long action cartridge based off of the same cartridge case that the 300 PRC and the 65 PRC both use. And this one's basically right in the middle as far as cartridge overall length would go. In this case, we're hunting with the Precision Hunter. This is a 175 grain ELDX.
Perfect.
Fantastic bullet. Got the heat shield tip technology. You know, it works at higher velocities and lower velocities equally well. It's a great choice for anything you can do out here. We also have a match load. There's a 180 grain ELD match bullet that we offer as well. And then we do have a 160 grain CX, which is our copper alloy expanding bullet that's new within the last year. So a couple great options for people out there in the 7mm PRC. We have, I mean, pretty much, I mean, I don't want to speak for everybody that's out there, but most of the major gun manufacturers and so many custom and semi-custom gun manufacturers are chambering for this cartridge right now. So
I can imagine everybody's looking at it.
Yeah, it's a great choice. I mean, it's just a fantastic choice. It does so many things very well. It's not too big to be used on medium game, and it's definitely all you need for the larger game as well.
Well, I'm always the kind of guy that says carry a big stick, so that's not quite the 300 PRC or above, but it's just perfect for everything you'd find out west that I could see. So
Yeah,
I'm excited to get a rifle chambered in it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to you giving it a go.
All right.
Thanks, buddy.
Now we should go hunting.
Okay, yeah.
Let's go.
You know, when I'm looking for stand sites, I often look for a spot where I want to kill the deer. But the thing that I try to think about is, where is that deer going to be when I get a shot? It doesn't always work that way, but a lot of times what I'll do is just a little curiosity scent. Buck nip is what I've been using lately. I have a tree stand right over here. It's within bow range of this spot. Not necessarily the deer's going to make a licking branch here or even a scrape, but this trail has been used pretty well. So what I'm going to do is, before I climb up in that stand, just a couple little sprays. That's all you really need. Curiosity scent. This stuff doesn't contain any urine. To me, it smells like black licorice, and I already know that smell is a deer attractant. A little bit on the trees. You want to keep it up about waist high, but even a little bit if you got leaves, that's just going to get that deer just enough. They need one molecule just to get them to stop, smell, have a shot right here. You'll be surprised how long that lasts. I'm going to get out of here, take a couple steps over, one last squirt. Maybe we'll see a deer this afternoon.